Hi, everyone. I'm Vincent Joe.
Hi, I'm Kathy Reed.
And I'm Allison Reed.
Hi, I'm Ashley.
Hi, I'm Grace.
We're from the Haydenettes.
I am Mark Henretti.
Ciao a tutti, siamo Rebecca Ghirardi
e Filippo Ambrosini
e vi diamo il benvenuto a
This Weekend Skating.
Welcome to This Week in Skating, the weekly podcast bringing you the latest news from the world of figure skating. Here are your hosts, Daphne, Gina, and Matteo.
Hello again from Milan. It is now day 6 of figure skating competitions, and today is Wednesday. I'm losing track of days and time and everything. I had to ask Matteo what day it was. And
we had to check, actually. I had to open my calendar and go like, okay, yeah, it is Wednesday, because I posted some photos from the short program yesterday, and one of them is Alexander Zelenko laying down on the ice, and I said, gosh, that's how we feel today.
I think I've been feeling that way all week, that I just need a little couch to sit down and lay down. But we're still going. We're excited because now we've reached the point that we are going to get our first set of individual medals, with the free dance taking place later today. So we last did a podcast talking about the team event. And so since then, we've had the rhythm dance and the men's short program. So we are going to chat about both of those, but we're going to flip. We're going to start with the men's short program, and then we'll go into the rhythm dance so that we sort of preview the free dance that will come later tonight. So men's short program last night, we had 29 skaters, 24 qualify for the free skate. So 5 were eliminated after the short program. And the leader after the short program would be USA's Ilya Malinin, who scored a 108.16. He has about a 5-point lead over Japan's Yuma Kageyama, who scored a 103.07. And sitting in third is Adam Siho-Himfa of France with a 102.55. And then Daniel Grossel of Italy is sitting in fourth place with a 93.46. And before I go on and on and on, we'll start off talking about these 4 top men. So I have to start with, we came in to the arena, I was in mid-afternoon. I had gone and watched practices over at the practice rink, which nobody was really practicing. And then I came over to watch the men's practice in the main arena. And when we got to the last group, they called out that last warm-up group, which consisted of Shun Sato, Adam Siho-Himfa, Nika Agatsi, Mikhail Shidorov, Ilya Malinin, and Yuma Kageyama. And when they called them all out, they skated out, and I looked and I said, wait a minute. There's only 5 out on the ice. And I kept looking around and did not see Ilya Malinin. I'm going to try to make sure I say Malinin, because I think that's how everybody is saying it here. I know we've said Malinin, Malinin, but I'm going to try to say Malinin. And so, of course, I think I said to Matteo, where's Ilya? We all were kind of nervous. Of course, first thing we do is we go to Twitter, and our good friend Jackie is just as clueless as we are. No one knows where Ilya is. So it was very interesting because, some skaters are skipping some of the practices. They have so many practices. They are skipping it. But this one is basically the warm-up before the event. And so I found it really odd that he wasn't there. We did find out he practiced earlier in the day, and because of the way the schedule was, he felt that he was not going to be able to get back to the village, and he would have to stay at the arena the whole time, and he wanted some time to relax. So he decided to practice earlier, felt comfortable practicing earlier, and did not do the warm up. But for a while there, and I'm sure Matteo, you felt the same way, we were all on edge going, what is going on?
Yes, we don't want any major drama at these Olympic Games, and that looked like it was a major drama in the making. But luckily, eventually the news came out. But we were incredibly concerned because the star of the day, everyone is of course loved and wanted, but we know let's not go around it. We know that everywhere in the world is talking about Ilya, and Ilya wasn't there, and we as media were reporting about it. So we thought, what the hell? But luckily, he got out in the last group when the short program was on. We saw him and we thought, thank you, Ilya. And in the mix zone, he actually shared all that you just said, Gina. He said, just thought of managing my energy that way, prioritizing the practice in the morning. We know that midway through the day in the Olympic Village, they had a visit from a new skating mentor called Snoop Dogg that all the figure skater lot meeting, and he was actually giving a few tips and word of advice to the skaters, and yeah, that might have helped to actually probably relax into the short program, I would say.
Yeah, he definitely was a part of the Snoop Dogg visit. So we knew he was okay. It didn't look like he was injured. He also mentioned too that he was also a part of the team event where there was the issue with the podium and his blades. And so he said he had to also adjust to, resharpen blades as well. So, yeah, but he came out and delivered the program that we are used to seeing of Ilya. That was a much better skate than what he did in the team event. He was planning, it appeared, based on the planned technical layout, that he was going to do the quad axel. We did not see the quad axel in the short program. He was asked about it for the free skate. Of course, he's going to just see how it goes. How he is. He sort of reminds me of Nathan Chen. You get the planned technical elements, and it's completely different by the time they actually skate. So we'll have to see. Maybe we will see the quad axel, but we did definitely see the backflip, and that roar of the crowd. Wow. I mean, he's probably getting the most reaction, the signs. There was a sign that was lit up. He's really the one everyone wants to see.
Yes, and we got to think that bringing the quad axel to the Olympic Games would make history. But what Ilya really wants is to be the Olympic champion. So strategy plays in, which is what we saw yesterday, and it will definitely play in the final. Yuma is just behind him. Yuma is strong. We know that we had the issue with the triple axel exit, but everything else was spot on. He loved his short program, so the competition is there. Adam Xiao himself, oh my God, he meant business as well. So Ilya will strategize as much as he can to make sure that he can do what he needs, because he knows he's got the big guns out there. So he's just got to make sure he manages his energy. He does what he needs to get the points to confirm his first place there. Another thing that he said as well in the mix zone yesterday was he was asked, do you think that a short program in the team event, actually both programs in the team event, were not good for you and took a bit of energy out of you? But his answer was quite positive. He just said, not really. I feel very energized. And if anything, I feel like the team event short program got him that confidence to get out there first, see what the Olympic eyes feels like, to then come to the short program in the individual event and deliver as he did yesterday.
Yeah, definitely. And, now we have 2 days off. The men do not compete until Friday. We have, again, the free dance later today, and then we have a day off. Our first day off is tomorrow. There is no events happening tomorrow. So they get a little break here before they compete again. So maybe, the energy will be back for him and he can attempt the quad axel. I want to talk about Yuma because yes, it wasn't the same program that we saw in the short. He had the problem with the triple axel, but the crowd loved it, especially when he gets into that little like dancing part with the choreo step sequence. The crowd just loves it, and they were clapping along from the start. It was so good. It was so good. So I'm looking forward to seeing his free skate. We did not see the free skate in the team event, so we'll look forward to seeing what he can do, and will he get his second Olympic medal? We'll have to find out on Friday. Adam Siho, I want to talk to about him because he skipped Europeans. And the reason he skipped Europeans was to prepare for the Olympics. And I think that was a smart move by the French Federation because he looked so well prepared. We did not see him in the team event. So he's had that time to really get himself prepared for these games, really, take home the practice time here. So I was very pleased with his skate. And, we always joke around with him about that Worlds in 2024 where he was, I don't remember the place now, but really down low. And then he came back up and won the bronze medal. So hopefully he delivers a good free skate and we don't have to see the reverse happen where he drops. But yeah, was really happy to see him skate well. In fourth, as we said, was Italy's Daniel Grossel, who we did see in the team event, and that was a completely different short program for him, meaning he skated much better in this in the individual event than he did in the team event. The I think he had maybe like a slight under rotation on one of his jumps, but again, really good skate. The crowd, of course, we're here in Italy, home crowd. He is looking to be strong now. He has had that where he does a really good short and then has a disastrous free skate. So we'll have to see if he is able to do a really good conclave free skate here on Friday. I did talk to him about his conclave free skate, and he said he was hoping Pope Leo would see his program. And he was actually kind of saying Pope Leo should come to Milan and watch it in person. But I'm not sure that has going to happen unless we put out some feelers and throw it out on social media and tag Pope Leo in it and see if he could arrive. But those were the top four, but I know we have others that we would like to talk about.
Yes, for example, Mikhail Shaidarov of Kazakhstan got out there, did these massive jumps. So he's in fifth place currently. And we don't know what he can do in the free because these guys have got really big jumps. They got programs that are quite solid at this point in the season. And of course, it's the Olympic Games. So they're all going to go full in with their game and see what they can do to get as high as possible. But even Ju Wan Cha of Korea, oh my gosh, finally skating well, because he had a few issues here and there in the past, and he was so beautiful to watch. Probably one of my favorites, I have to say, of the day. And also Kevin Amos, shall we say something about Kevin Amos of France, getting out there. He's in seventh place. The first half of his program is all about delivering the jumps, getting it done. And then in the second half, the music changes. It gets into that vibe, vibrant Lady Gaga atmosphere, which he delivers. And the crowds were roaring when he was skating like that. So that's amazing.
Yeah, definitely. I also want to point out, before I talk about our Americans, I'm going to talk about them here in a second, but I want to talk about Stephen Gogolev. He is currently in 10th place. He's been, really bringing out these programs lately that definitely we're seeing a whole new side of him. But he made me very, very nervous because I want to say like midway through the program, the journalist that was sitting next to me kind of was like, oh, and I was like, what is she on about? And I look and his lace was hanging. And so, of course, I'm like drawn to the lace. And I'm like, oh, please, Steven, don't trip, don't trip, don't trip, don't trip. Like that whole entire time. Thankfully, he made it through the rest of the program. I'm not sure if the journalist next to me was from Canada. She probably was because she was like, Steven, tape those laces. But yeah, I I'm it was pretty impressive that he made it through without having any issues with it because of course when you get into those spins and the step sequence, a little lace that's hanging just above the blade is not the most it's not the best situation. Let's just put it that way. I mean, I've had a lace hanging down when I skate and I quickly am able to like fix it. But when you're in the middle of your program, you're not able to fix it. I do want to talk about the other two Americans. Of course, we already mentioned Ilya, so I want to talk about Andrew Torgashev and Maxim Namov. Andrew had a really good skate. This was, of course, his first time competing here in Milan because he did not participate in the team event. Really good program from him. He got himself a season's best of, 88.94. Hoping he can deliver a good free skate. We've seen this happen with Andrew where he delivers a really strong short program. He did this at Worlds last year, and then he really has struggles in the free skate. So it's hoping for another good skate from him on Friday. And he was second skater of the men's short program, but Max Naumoff came out and delivered a really good free skate, 85.65. He's currently sitting in 14th place, qualified for the free skate. So good to see him. If you were in the arena, you saw that he had a message on the Jumbotron, and it said, "Mom and Dad, this is for you." Which of course, it really um, tugged at my heartstrings just because we all know the story with him, and so I know Mom and Dad were definitely watching and definitely with him in spirit, and of course he had the photo in the kiss and cry of them, so they I'm sure are so proud. It was a really good skate. Glad he came out there first time competing on Olympic ice and delivered a strong program. So really good for Team USA with the three men, and hoping all three can deliver on Friday.
I also want to mention Kirilo Marsak of Ukraine because can you imagine going to the Olympic Games and exceeding your personal best by 10 points? I repeat, 10 points. His kiss and cry reaction was probably the kiss and cry reaction of the day for me. He was so excited, so happy. So that's incredibly beautiful to have to witness something like that. And best of luck to him in the free program.
Two more that I want to mention. Of course, Donovan Carrillo of Mexico, he did qualify for the free skate. There was a big Mexican crowd in the stands. They were chanting, they were flags, really getting into it. And of course, if you've know Donovan or you've watched Donovan, he is a fun skater, and definitely loves the crowd. And it was a great skate from him. And we weren't sure because of this whole music issues that have been happening before the Olympics here, but we did get to see some minions on Olympic ice, or maybe just one minion on Olympic ice. But Thomas Guarino Sabat did his minion program. Of course, the crowd loved it. It was so fun. Unfortunately, he did not make the free skate, but as we're recording this, Matteo's just holding up his phone. He just liked one of our posts. So I guess he's all about the minions too, because we posted something about him skating with his minion costume and he liked it. So it's unfortunate we won't see him in the free skate, but I'm so glad we got to see the minions on Olympic ice. And one more thing before we conclude our men's recap and move on to the dance. We did kick off the men's short program with Pet Grumanek, who is an individual neutral athlete. Um, he kicked off the event and there was a lot of support for him in the crowd. Maybe a little surprising to me. But there was some flags for him or signs for him. He did skate quite well. He got an 86.72 and he's currently in 12th place. But that is our first of three in neutral athletes that we will see. There are two in the women's event. He is the only one in the men's event.
Right. Shall we now move on to ice dance? And the rhythm dance took place on Monday. So the temporary results are Laurence Fournier-Goudry and Guillaume Cizeron in France in first place with 90.18 points. They're followed by Madison Chock and Evan Bates, which are just behind them by nearly half a point on 89.72. In third place, Piper Gills and Paul Poirier of Canada with 86.18. Fourth place, Lila Fear and Lewis Gibson of Great Britain, 85.47. And fifth place, Charlene Guinard and Marco Fabri of Italy with 84.28. And I'm sorry if I'm going down all of that way, but we have USA's Emilia Zingert and Vadim Kolesnik with 83.53. And I'm not going to continue, but I'm just saying all these points because everyone is next to each other. It's crazy what's happening with the ice dance. And I am, that this is something that Daphne and I do on a regular basis to talk about ice dance because we have icedance.com. I am not sure what's going to happen today. So maybe we should just start by looking at what happened on Monday and try to see whether we can make any logic out of what could come out of it, isn't it?
Yeah, it seems a little bit weird that I get the opportunity right now to talk about ice dance because that's usually Daphne's job. So, bear with me because I'm gonna talk about ice dance and my biggest thing that I say, and I should say this. Biggest thing I've been saying all season is I do not understand the scoring and the judging in ice dance. And that was the same thing that I thought after Monday's rhythm dance. I did not understand maybe why Madison Chalk and Evan Bates were second over Laurence Fournier-Baudry and Guillaume Cizeron. I thought they both had very strong skates. And I would have put Maddie and Evan just ahead of Laurence and Guillaume. And I don't know why they weren't in front of Laurence Fournier-Baudry and Guillaume Cizeron. But again, two really strong performances, very small margin, less than half a point separating those two teams. It's really going to come down to the free dance. But one thing before, we talk about some of these top teams, one thing I did really pick up on Monday was the fact that you really couldn't have a mistake because one little mistake cost you possibly even making the free dance. And we saw that happen with some teams where a little twizzle mistake cost them the opportunity to compete in the free dance. Teams like Korea's Hannah Lim and Yi Kwan did not qualify for the free dance because, again, he had a twizzle issue. Jennifer Jan van Rensburg and Benjamin Steffen of Germany, same thing, a twizzle mistake. So we did, I think, have three teams have a little trouble with their twizzles, but that was the thing. And that was what Daphne was texting with us is these teams had to be perfect because a little mistake made all of the difference. So teams that we would have thought would have made the free dance did not make the free dance. And I think this is similar to what we had happen at Worlds last year where, it came down to a hundredth of a point that separated somebody from making the free dance to someone not making the free dance. And so if you look down at all these scores, it is so close because it's very little. Everything is like a little detail. You get but higher point based on what you if you're able to do something just a little bit better than somebody else.
Yeah, and we can also go back just a couple of months where at the Grand Prix final we saw Madison Chock and Evan Bates winning gold, followed by the French. And in third place, the bronze medal ended with Lila Fier and Lewis Gibson, which were actually in fourth, behind Piper Gills and Paul Poirier after the redundance. But then they got up again by a fraction of a point. And that's where we are right now. Who will get the bronze medal? We know that gold and silver, unless major mistakes, is a battle between France and the United States. Both deliver really strong programs. They're very skilled. Madison Chock and Evan Bates have not yet been defeated by Laurence Fournier-Baudry and Guillaume Cizeron because they faced them at the Grand Prix final where, as I said, they won, and they had a face-off in the redundant in the team event where again Madison and Evan scored I think a couple of points higher, if I remember well, than Fournier-Baudry Cizeron. But now the situation is twisted, although just by a little margin, and we'll see what happens in the free. But the bronze medal is open. It could be Canadian, British, Italian. It's quite difficult to predict what's going to happen. Another thing that I want to keep in mind as well is, and to remind everyone, I mentioned the team event. So 2 of the 23 teams there were actually at the team event competing the day before on the free dances. And they were, of course, Madison Chock and Evan Bates and Charlene Guignard and Marco Fabri. So they had to, we mentioned the issue with the blades, so they had to fix that within 24 hours, go out for practice, and then deliver the redundance, which is quite remarkable. So congratulations to the 2 of them. But now they had a day off in between redundance and free dance. And I'm actually going to head to practice after this recording to see the state of all the teams there. It's going to be an interesting one. I don't think that we can easily predict exactly what's going to happen, and that's probably going to keep everyone at the edge of their seat, both us there in the arena and everyone watching at home. So yeah, I think it's going to be quite a show.
Yeah, definitely. And if we didn't really mention what happened with the podium, there was like a kind of gluey, sticky substance that was like used to prevent like slips. That when the skaters jumped up onto the podium, it kind of affected their blades. And when they got off the podium, they felt they couldn't slide on the ice. So there has been sharpening going on. They're really making sure their blades are perfect now and ready to go for their future competitions. Some, though, did have put their backup skates on when they went to go take their medals and were not affected by that. I know Jackie posted that some did decide, I'm going to put on my second set of skates and did not put on their competitive skates to go and receive those. But hopefully that has been all taken care of and there will be no issues tonight when our dance teams get on the podium. But one thing I do want to mention, or one team I really want to mention, who, this season has taken the ice dance world by surprise, and that would be Emilia Zingis and Vadim Kolesnik of United States. Boy, have they come out on fire this season. I mean, of course, we know 2 medals at their Grand Prix events, qualified for the Grand Prix final where they finished 6th, won the silver medal at the U.S. Championships, here at their very first Olympic Games. And if you know the story, Emmy did not start in ice dance. She only transitioned to ice dance in 2023. So just 4 years ago, just shy of 4 years ago. And so I am just been very impressed by this team all season, how they've kind of come out of nowhere a little bit. I mean, yeah, they were fourth last year at the US Championships, but they've just really have come out strong. They're really enjoying their Olympic experience. Vadim is a new US citizen as of this past summer. So it's just good to see them sitting just outside of that last warm-up group, sitting in sixth place. Very impressed by them. Also have to mention Allison Reed and Saulius Ambrivicius of Lithuania. We were sitting not too far from the Lithuanian Federation, and boy, were they cheering loud. They put flags right behind the judges, so there was a lot of support for them. They had a really good rhythm dance. It's one of my favorite rhythm dances this season. So nice to see them have a good skate. They're just behind Emmy and Vadim in seventh place. We got to see Evgenia Lopareva and Jeffrey Brousseau. They did not compete in the team event for France, and we got to hear that song that gets in your head, that blue song. And they do have blue costumes now, because I was not a fan of the red when they were skating to a song like Blue. But they're just there sitting in eighth place. Marjorie Lajoie and Zachary Laga of Canada, ninth. They have a fun rhythm dance. Everyone was really loving that rhythm dance. And then in 10th, Olivia Smart and Tim Deek of Spain. We get to see Doomed on Olympic ice later today. So hopefully, you never know, that could pull them up just a little bit, because we've seen that their rhythm dance kind of holds them back, and then their free dance kind of pulls them up in the standings. So we'll see what happens here later today.
Exactly. So it's going to be very, very interesting. Now, Gina, before we wrap up, shall I make a little reference to VIP's reposting skaters and particularly ice dancers, because I've got a list of them that I could mention.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Matteo.
So let's start with, as we mentioned before, Snoop Dogg was there and he also interacted with the ice dancers. But we had Madonna posting that apparently she thinks that Guillaume Cizeron and Laurence Fournier-Baudry already won gold. I think it's a genuine mistake if you don't know the sport, but it was incredible, I think, to have the legend Madonna reposting their rhythm dance on OG. Then next one is Faithless. So Alison Reed and Saulius Ambrivicius are going to skate on Faithless. It's a groundbreaking program. They already had their music a couple of seasons ago, and they brought the club culture to ice dance, which is something that I think was never done before. So Faithless spotted that, and they posted that everyone should go watch them. So it's fantastic. And lastly, Georgia, which is the Italian singer that Charlene Guignard and Marco Fabri's free is on. So the free dance was celebrated by Georgia, particularly when they won the bronze medal in the team event. And I'm pretty sure that she's probably going to say something again after the free dance today.
Yeah, and didn't we have the Spice Girls, or one of the Spice Girls, post about Lila Fear and Lewis Gibson's rhythm dance?
Yes.
Okay.
So the first one was Mel B, because Lewis had this post saying, if I get at least one of the Spice Girls commenting on these posts, my husband promised to cook for a full month. And Mel B picked that up and she left a comment. And then Lewis was trying to be a bit cheeky, saying, if we get more, then he's going to cook a month more for an additional month for each one of the other Spice Girls that is going to comment. But then Mel B also posted about them. The Spice Girls page posted about them. And before they had the rhythm dance, Melanie C had a video message that was delivered to the two of them via the BBC, which is the national broadcaster in the UK. So definitely, there was a lot of resonance for that Spice Girl program that I skated on.
Good. I'm glad Lewis is going to get some good home cooked meals from his husband once the Olympics is over. Yeah, we have been seeing a lot of the artists reach out and be in support of the skaters skating to their music. Not everyone has been reacting positively to that. I think there was something coming out in regards to music that Amber Glenn is using for her free skate, which she used last season as well. I think the artist of that program did say something like, well, she didn't ask for permission. And then I believe some fans and others explained everything. But it's really nice when the artists, support these skaters and show them some love. Even if they don't understand it. Madonna, no offense to you, they haven't yet won the gold, but you can, if they do later today, go right ahead and post all about it. But yeah, it's nice. We had that, in 2022 with Elton John and Nathan Chen. So yeah, so I think that kind of concludes things. If we missed anybody, again, we're sorry. We're really working on very little sleep, and I think it's starting to slowly catch up to us. I'm looking at this and going, oh my God, how are we on Wednesday? I only have 3 more days here. I leave on Saturday. I'm very upset that it's coming. My Olympic experience is coming to an end, and I will be heading back home, and I will be watching, of course, online and on the TV as much as I can. I already told Matteo, and if my coworkers hear this, oh well, but that there's going to be a TV brought into my office next week so that I can do what I'm supposed to be doing, which is work, but also making sure I'm following along because I go back to the East Coast time and these competitions aren't taking place in the evening for me. They're going to be taking place in the middle of the day. So, and there's no way I'm waiting until prime time to watch it. So they'll understand. They completely understand. I got an email this morning, no, actually yesterday, that they happened to see an interview I did with the NBC station where I live, and I didn't know they would see that. But anyways, and they are also taking note of my gelato count as well, which, if in case anybody was following along, I'm now at day or 4 gelatos. Fifth gelato will be coming probably as soon as we finish this episode.
Yeah, and I'm going to be here until the very last skating competition. I'm not able to do the gala, unfortunately, but I think I'm lucky enough to be able to do everything. It's fantastic to be here with Gina. Yesterday, at some point, I was saying, gosh, do you realize that this is actually giving us a lot of time together, which is great because we live on the other side of the world. So it's, yeah, it's something that I'm really enjoying. And Daphne, as we said, greatly missed, but hopefully we'll have a chance to soon to be all the three of us together. Also, if I can add something quickly, I had my family over on the short program of the men's, and my family is also going to watch the free dance because, of course, the poor things I've heard so much about the skating, but particularly ice dance. And I said, look, you got to come see the final, and they will be there. And it's pretty exciting because one thing that I keep thinking about is that our skating community is phenomenal. Wherever I look around, whether it's the skaters themselves, their teams, the media friends that we have, and the fans, we are a beautiful community. There's not one person that I see being grumpy or sad at competitions. We all have a big smile. You can see how big the passion is when we are all together.
Yeah, definitely. I've, been walking around the concourse and seen some of the US fans that I get to see when I'm at a nationals that have made the trip over. One we got to see and Matteo got to meet for the first time. She is a listener of this podcast because she's one of our helpers. We're going to call her our producer, but she's here with her sister and friend. And so we got to see them a little bit before the start of the rhythm dance. They were not at men's short, but they will be today at the free dance. Saw another person that is a volunteer and is, goes to pretty much every US nationals. Got to see, and I'm going to shout her out, got to see Mia, who used to work for US Figure Skating, now works for the Skating Club of Boston. She was here representing the Skating Club of Boston with some other Skating Club of Boston people to cheer on Max, and they'll be here also for the pairs to cheer on Emily Chan and Spencer Howe, who also train at the Skating Club of Boston. So it's great to see her. So I'm loving seeing fans and friends from the US, as well as meeting some people from the Europe, the people that go to all the Europe events, because as Matteo reminds me that this is my first skating competition in Europe. So I'm getting to meet some of the people who are regulars to European figure skating events. But we're going to wrap this up here because Matteo is very, very itchy to get to the arena to make sure he has a prime location for tonight's free dance, that he gets to see some of the practices. It's a big day for him and a big day for Daphne. And I'm just going to be excited to watch it. So, yeah.
Just to share a little funny story before we close. So it's such a big day. Plus, as I said, it's day 6 for the two of us. So we can kind of feel that we're not sleeping too much, and we're doing a lot. So this morning I was taking the metro, and just for you to know, I had to meet Gina in a location where we could record, and I had to change at the stop that I was meant to change, but I did not automatically get off the stop that I would have gotten out if when I was going to university 20 years ago. And I thought, then at some point I was looking for the other connection, and I was thinking, oh, it's nowhere around. And then I checked the metro stop, and I thought, oh, but that's not the stop that I was meant to get out from. So I had a little moment where the brain went too much. But
this Melanesian, how do you say it? What are they called?
Milanese.
Well, this non-Milanese got here a little late because my hotel's elevator system wasn't working, but did get here first and did not have any issues with the metro. So I just want to point that out.
In my defense, I was doing a bit of posting, so I was multitasking.
Well.
But yes, I'm running out of excuses. Shall we just close it now?
Yes, we should just close it now. I want to go down. I got to get my gelato, and I got to go get Flo, because I got to say this one thing. Tina and Milo, though I got to actually, meet them in person, you can't get them anywhere along Milan. And I was like, okay, yeah, you can order them. And then when I went to go try to order them, they're gone. So I'm going to go get Flo. I think it's a she. I don't know what she actually is. But she's mostly, I think, for the Paralympics, but I don't know. I don't know really. But anyway, I'm going to go grab Flo. And so that at least I have one of the mascots. And I'm still on the hunt for a Tina and Milo. So if anybody hears this and knows where I can get one online, please let me know. As well as, I have not been able to find the Olympic rings pasta. I'm guessing that's not available anywhere, but if anybody knows about that too, please reach out. But I'm not going to keep talking here anymore. So, Matteo, I'm not going to close with any Italian, but I want actually you to close out with something in Italian about the ice dance.
Buona finale olimpica, which means happy Olympic final.
Sounds good to me. See you next time.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of This Week in Skating. Remember, you can keep up with us throughout the week by visiting our website at www.thisweekinskating.com. Connect with us on social media for additional updates. You can find us on Twitter at This Week in Skating without the E's, or Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at This Week in Skating. You got a burning question or feedback for Gina, Daphne, or Matteo? Reach out to us via social media or drop us an email at thisweekinskating@gmail.com. And if you're really enjoying the show and want to support us further, consider joining our Patreon community at patreon.com/thisweekinskating. Until next time, have a nice week.